Welcome to this short video explaining EWCO's additional contributions and how to apply for them on the EWCO application form. These are optional and are available where the woodlands location and design will deliver public benefits. Please see the EWCO Grant Manual Appendix 2 for design-specific requirements for each additional contribution. These are one-off payments which will be paid once all the planting and establishment work has been completed. Where the location and design of the woodland mean that multiple public benefits will be provided, additional contributions for different benefits can be stacked on the same area of land. Additional contribution eligibility is assessed on a compartment basis, and each compartment claiming an additional contribution must satisfy the eligibility for that contribution in its own right. If you are using natural colonisation as an establishment method, you can still apply for the additional contributions. The aim of this video is to talk you through the EWCO Additional Contributions tab of the application form, how to check spatial eligibility by completing a land information search, and a review of each additional contribution and their design requirements. We're going to start by looking at tab 5, Composition and ACs on the EWCO application form. If you have already completed tabs 1 to 4 of the application form, tab 5, Composition and ACs, will look something like this. Grayed out on the left-hand side are the compartment summary details. This section automatically completed when you fill out the compartment details on the land summary in tab 3 and the species that you are planting in the species breakdown in tab 4. If you are missing any compartments, go back to tab 3, land summary, and tab 4, species breakdown. On the right-hand side of tab 5, we have the breakdown of the additional contributions. For the information to correctly populate, you will need to select either yes or no in the drop-down menu, shown here for each additional contribution that your compartment qualifies for. Next to the corresponding compartment, type in the gross area size of the compartment in hectares. As you can see, if your compartment qualifies for more than one additional contribution, you can stack them, but be aware you can only claim for one type of nature recovery. You can then scan across to tab 10, Grant Values, and scroll down to the Additional Contributions section shown here. If you have correctly filled out the table on tab 5, you should see a breakdown of the additional contribution totals shown in the table here. Please note, if you are claiming the same additional contribution in multiple compartments, the total area of all compartments combined will be shown. If you are missing additional contributions, the most common error is that you have not selected yes in the drop-down menu on tab 5, Composition and ACs. In this section, I will teach you how to complete a land information search, which you can find by searching for LIS on gov.uk, which also provides further information about the search. As I said in the introduction, additional contributions are available where the woodlands location and design will deliver public benefits. The LIS report starts by checking eligibility against location. By selecting different layers on this mapping software, it will tell you which additional contributions that you qualify for in terms of location. Where your compartments do fall within the additional contributions location, you will then need to ensure that your compartment meets the design criteria for that additional contribution, which I will come on to later. Further details of the layers can be found in the EWCO Grant Manual, section 4.3.4, under the relevant additional contribution. First, using the search bar in the top left-hand corner of the screen, you will need to search the grid reference of your compartment. This will automatically zoom into your compartment. Alternatively, you can use the mouse wheel to zoom in and out of the map. In the top right-hand corner, select the LIS button, select the line function, and accurately draw all of your compartments. When you have finished drawing a compartment, double-click to finish. After each compartment is drawn, the map will zoom out, showing you the buffer zone of the LIS search. Keep repeating until all compartments are drawn. The compartments will be numbered, and it is useful to draw them in the order as they are shown in the application form. Next, in the toolbar in the top right-hand corner, select Map Layers. Then, the arrow next to the Targeting and Scoring Scroll down the list and select the layers you wish to check to see whether your compartment meets the additional contribution criteria. Further details of what layers you need to select can be found on the EWCO Grant Manual in section 4.3.4 under spatial targeting within each additional contribution. If you are unable to select a layer, try zooming in so that the layer can load. If you scroll down the list, you will also need to select under Land Sensitivity, England Woodland Creation, Low Sensitivity version 4.0. Once all the layers are ticked, return to the LIS button in the top right-hand corner. Now that your compartments are mapped and the layers are loaded, you can now select Create Report. You will notice the spinning timer next to the layers and sections. Once it disappears, the report has finished populating. To review your report and save it as a PDF document, select the Printer button, which will open a new browser page. Once loaded, select Print again. Under Destination, select Save as PDF, then Save. Your report will look like this. You can see which additional contributions your compartments meet the location criteria for using the EWCO Grant Manual section 4.3.4. See which criteria you meet and complete tab 5, Composition and ACs on the application form to reflect that. If you have any queries or questions over the spatial layers or how to use the land information search, please contact your local woodland officer. We will now look at the additional contributions and provide you with a bit of information about each of them. Full design criteria, requirements, and current payment rates for each can be found in the EWCO Grant Manual section 4.3.4 and in the EWCO Grant Manual Appendix 2 Design Guide. Each additional contribution will look at spatial targeting, which we have touched on with the LIS report, species mix, and stocking density. The species mix for each additional contribution will be slightly different, but we'll look at things like the percentage of native trees, small trees, and woody shrubs, as well as the maximum limits for any single species. A full list of species covered by EWCO can be found on the Species List tab of the application form. Each additional contribution will also have differing stocking density requirements, and it will look at stems per hectare and open space limitations. The nature recovery additional contributions premium, higher and lower rates will help woodland-dependent priority species to recover. You can only claim one tier of nature recovery depending on which tier touches the compartment or block. If you are creating a woodland for red squirrels, this is a different targeting layer and design criteria. Details for the design criteria of each level of rate can be found in the Grant Manual section 4.3.4 Additional Contributions, and with further details supplied in the Grant Manual Appendix 2 Design Guide. The premium rate is available where the new woodland will expand areas of existing ancient woodland with new native woodland. This is the purple colour you can see. Higher rate is available where the new woodland will expand areas of existing native woodland with new native woodland. This is the olive colour you can see. The lower rate is where the new woodland will create areas of new native woodland or will expand the habitat for red squirrel populations. This is the grey colour you can see. By completing a land information search with the correct layers applied, you can see which rates your compartments can claim for. Water quality. The purpose of this additional contribution is to improve water quality through woodland creation. It is important to get the species mix and the stocking density correct, as in some circumstances, woodland creation can have a negative impact on water resources. However, in the right locations, woodland creation can decrease or diffuse pollution through reduced fertilizer and pesticide usage. It can also protect sensitive soils from disturbance and erosion, increase infiltration and reduce water runoff, intercept sediment and chemical pollutants in runoff, reducing the delivery of pollutants to watercourses. In some parts of England, conifers' high use of water can threaten local water supplies and river flows, In some locations, reduced river flows can be detrimental to the water-dependent protective sites. Please review the EWCO Grant Manual and EWCO Grant Manual's Appendix 2 Design Guide to make sure you are choosing the correct options and speak to your local woodland officer for their advice. On the LIS, the water quality catchment area will be shown as green. The next additional contribution we're going to look at is flood risk management. This additional contribution is available where areas of appropriately designed new woodland in the right location can help reduce the risk of flooding by slowing flood flows and increasing the retention and infiltration of water on the land by creating woodland in the wider catchment area, riparian woodland, creating woodlands along watercourses, floodplain woodland, and cross-slope woodland, where creating small areas of woodland such as shelter belts can reduce rapid runoff from higher land. For this additional contribution, your compartment must touch either the opportunity for floodplain woodland, which is the brown colour, or the opportunity for wider catchment woodland, which is the cream colour, in the EWCO flood risk management layer on the land information search. Our next additional contribution is riparian buffers. This additional contribution is available where woodland creation with native broadleaf species will provide the dappled shade that will improve aquatic ecology by reducing summer water temperatures and benefiting wildlife dispersal, for example otter, along the corridors of the habitat this creates. Areas of this additional contribution should be mapped as separate compartments in the application map. This is stacking priority 1, which means the design criteria for this additional contribution overrides any others, but you may still claim any that are still spatially available below this, such as nature recovery premium. Riparian buffer catchment areas will be shown as blue on the land information search. Only the area fully within the targeting layer is eligible for the additional contribution, and this must be mapped as a separate compartment. The next additional contribution that the applicant can benefit from is close to settlements. This is an easy one to explain. It is available where woodland creation will provide social and environmental benefits by being close to people. The LIS layer for close to settlements is coloured a pale pink. The next additional contribution is recreational access. Available where the woodland meets the requirements of the Close to Settlements additional contribution and touches the Close to Settlements layer on the LIS. Permissive access for recreation on foot must be provided on land that does not currently have access to it for at least 30 years. Access must be allowed during daylight hours during this period, but the woodland can be closed for 10 days a year for maintenance to be carried out. If you are outside the EWCO NFC social targeting layer, you can still claim this additional contribution, but you must set out why you feel the proposal should be eligible by filling in a EWCO public access non-spatial eligibility form, which can be found on ewco.gov.uk page. There is funding for infrastructure related to this additional contribution, but you need to apply for this separately by completing tab 8 infrastructure on the EWCO application form. EWCO offers an ammonia capture incentive. Woodland creation can also contribute to air quality objectives by capturing ammonia emissions, which are mainly from agriculture. Ammonia impacts biodiversity through toxicity to sensitive species, and it is the biggest contributor to nitrogen deposition in the UK. Excessive nitrogen can affect ecosystems and soil health, as well as contributing to climate change. Over 85% of sites of special scientific interest, or SSIs, in England are receiving levels of nitrogen where harm is expected, and 88% of SSIs are exceeding concentrations of ammonia likely to cause damage to lower level plants. Ammonia also reacts with other air pollutants to form fine particulates that impact on human health. The ammonia capture isn't a paid additional contribution, but it can provide extra points in an application which has a low score. Further points are available for creating shelter belts designed to capture ammonia emissions from farm sources, for example, livestock buildings, slurry stores, composting sites, free-range poultry, or pigs. This applies in locations where there is a potential risk of air pollution impacting a SSI. The LIS layer for ammonia capture is coloured a pale blue.
EWCO now has the low sensitivity land payment to encourage EWCO applications on low sensitivity land, avoiding land most suitable for food production. This is a one-off payment. It is available where the woodlands location falls within a low sensitivity area for woodland creation, aligned with the woodland creation fast track criteria. See the EWCO Grant Manual section 4.9.1 for more information. Low sensitivity areas are where there are likely to be fewer sensitivities or constraints to woodland creation. They can be viewed using the England Woodland Creation Low Sensitivity Map version 4.0 layer under the Land Sensitivity banner on LIS. The area will be shown as purple.
This brings us to the end of this video. If you have any questions regarding the additional contributions or designing your woodland, please speak to your local woodland officer who will be able to help.